What's up, bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video and another follow along. Today we've got a slightly different and new flexibility routine for you to try. It's a loaded flexibility routine, so you're going to need a few bits of equipment, and it is based off the new program Iron Flexibility, which is available within my app, and I'll link that one in the description down below. So to complete this workout, you're going to want a stick, you're going to want a little bit of weight. So right here I've got a 10 kilo dumbbell, adjustable dumbbells, sort of 5 to 15 kilos will be enough to get through this one. You're gonna want a foam roller or some yoga blocks, and you're gonna want a bench, but this bench could be done with like a box or a chair as well. So it doesn't need to be a bench. You can usually make this up with some stuff lying about your house. Just get a little bit creative. Without further ado though, let's jump straight into this routine. We're gonna get things kicked off with just a little bit of a warm up. So I'm going to shift into an upward dog position. So taking the weight through the hands, just letting the hips relax and lower down. You can move from side to side. If you want to spend 10 seconds here, and then we're just going to press up onto the feet, push the shoulders through, and go into a bit of a downward dog. So we're getting some shoulder opening overhead, a little bit of hamstring loosening, and then we can shift back down. We're just going to do a few of those. So we're going to start with the upper body. So we're doing a couple of drills to open up the shoulders and open up the thoracic. So a little bit of spinal extension. Press back up into downward dog. And then from there, we're going to take a look at the hip flexors, and we're going to finish up with some hamstring stretching. This is a little bit more of an advanced routine. We can switch back to downward dog, just the last one here, another 10 seconds. It's a little bit more of an advanced routine. You're going to want to be able to perform like, at least knuckles, maybe palms to floor in a pike position. So that is this position right here. If you can't quite get into that position, you may not get the most out of this one. All right, last one, we're going to press up into downward dog. Again, just shift it back and forth, just enough to open the shoulders. I'm going to come back just into a seated position here, placing the hands behind us. We're going to lift up into a tabletop. So I'm going to use my glutes, push my hips up, extend through the shoulders, so I should feel a stretch through the biceps, and then come back down. So all the time, pulling my shoulders back, trying to push away from the floor, feel the chest open. Just going to press up. We're going to do 5 of these in total, a few seconds, pause in the top, and come back down. So 2 more reps. And then we'll move on to the first set of exercises. Last one here. Press up. And then we can just shift about a bit. We can come forward. Just feel a little bit more stretch through the shoulders. So the first 2 exercises we're going to be doing, you're going to want a stick and you're going to want some weight, as well as this bench or box setup. We're going to first off work on our overhead lift. So we're going to use this support to support our head. So we're trying not to extend too much. And we're just going to try here to lift the shoulders, but we're going to try and sit in this slightly flexed position. So that's exercise number 1. And then we're going to pair that with a lat pullover. So we're going to sit on the bench, use the weight, whichever you have about, and we're going to lower into it. So make sure you have that set up, make sure you're familiar with both those exercises, and then we're going to jump into the superset straight away. So get ready, get your setup going, get nicely set up, and then for this first one, the more you sit back into it, the harder it's going to be to lift the hands overhead. So we're going to do 3 lifts of 10 seconds maximum effort. Try to squeeze the fists if you can do to try and make that lift overhead. So 3, 2, 1. You're going to lift. Lift as high as you can. Think thumbs up to the ceiling. Should be hard. Keep lifting, 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 lifting. High as you can. 3, 2, 1. And we can just relax for 5 seconds. I'm going to do another 2 reps of that. So this one, we should be feeling it in the mid back. Let's go again. So we're going to lift. Thumbs up, high as you can. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. Should be intense, by the way. You can always ramp up into this one, work up into it, but either way, there's no getting about, it's going to be hard. Last one, sit the hips back. I'm going to try and lift again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Shake it off. Again, with that one, if you struggled a little bit, just note how wide your hands are. If they're a little bit narrow, it's going to be harder. If you go wider, you're going to be able to access a little bit more range. But the main thing is, we're feeling it in that mid-back, feeling those traps work to open up the shoulders. We're going to take about 15 seconds here, so 30 seconds in total, and we're going to jump into these lat pullovers. For this one, you're going to make sure that the edge of the bench is sat right below the shoulder blades. So it gives you a nice position to hinge on. I personally like to hold the dumbbell in a diamond position with the hands, nice and supported. I'm going to lift the hips up. And then as I lower the dumbbell, I'm going to let the hips drop as well. Feel a nice stretch. Bend the arms if it feels comfortable. Pause for a few seconds. And then press the dumbbell up, and I'm going to lift my hips up in the same motion. So lower down again, hips lower, hands lower. A little bit of elbow bending, it's fine. We're focusing on that extension through the back. So we're going to do 8 to 10 of these in total. So nice, lower down, third rep. Now remember to breathe with this one. So I want you to try and inhale. As you lower down, you're going to feel the chest expand and press back up. It's about halfway. Take your time with this one. I want to make sure we're pausing sort of 3 to 5 seconds on each of those reps. Really trying to feel the hands pulling down and try to pull your hips down as well. So 2 more here. And then on this last rep, I want you just to hold for 10 seconds. So try to reach that dumbbell down towards the ground. Keep pulling the hips down, and remember to breathe. Try to expand the rib cage. Beautiful. And that is the first rep done. Now we're going to rest for a second here, but we're just going to put our shoulders into somewhat the opposite position. So we're going to just wiggle those hips forward, placing the hands just outside shoulder width behind us, fingers facing away, into a bit of extension. Lift up with the chest. I'm just going to breathe here for a second. Use your rest in an active way, in a smart way. We spend probably half the session resting, regardless of what training we're doing. And oftentimes it's a great time to squeeze in a bit of flexibility work, rather than sitting on Instagram, which is what I usually do. Perfect, so we're going to flip over. Come into a child's pose position. Again, just relaxing. I'm not really putting in any stretch. So hopefully those first 2 sets were a bit of a tester. You've kind of figured out what you need to be doing and where you need to be. So with this one again, the more I bring the knees back, the less angle I have at the knee or the hip even, the easier it's going to be to lift those arms overhead. The more I begin to tuck that pelvis, the more challenging that's going to become. Make sure forehead's supported. And we're going to do another 3 repetitions there. 3 reps, 10 seconds, hard as you can. Thumbs up. Try to really open those shoulders. Feel those traps working. So, when we're ready, I'm going to lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake it off. Remember again, wider you go, the easier this one will be. So try to bring the hands closer as you get more flexible, but bring them out so you can get a good lift with the hands. Another one here. So lift, 1, 2, 3, keep lifting as high as you can, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can tell by my voice that it's certainly not easy. This is one of those drills that's like, it's as hard as you push yourself to perform it. Last one, third rep. Come on, let's lift. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Keep lifting. 10. Shake it off. Should feel those traps, up trap, mid trap. It should be burning, should be feeling that working. We're going to give ourselves another 20 seconds here, about 30 seconds rest. I'm going to go into that another set of those dumbbells. So beforehand, maybe used a little bit of a lighter weight, we're warming up. You can go up in weight if you want to. If it felt intense enough, absolutely fine. This one's not necessarily about load that you lift. It's more about the feeling, the stretch that you get, hinging over that position on the spine, opening up the chest, opening up the lats for what would be a bridge, or potentially even like handstand position. Right. Again, edge of the bench, I'm going to place it right underneath those shoulder blades. Hips up, hands up, begin to lower down, nice inhale, let the hips drop. And about 3 to 5 second pause in the bottom in the stretch, that's what we want. Beautiful. If you're rushing through these, you're just not going to quite get the benefit. We really want to make sure that we're sitting in that stretch at the bottom. Two more for me, 8 to 10 in total, remember. That 10-second pause on that last rep. So, last one for me here. 10 seconds, keep pulling those hips down, keep letting gravity take those arms down as well. Little bend as feels comfortable. Nice. We can put that one away for a second. We can place the weight away. We're going to need that weight in a little bit. And again, we can come forward into a little bit of that German sit position. Stretch out the shoulders in the opposite way. Lift up the chest. And then what we're actually going to do is we're going to get ourselves ready for the next movement, the next exercise. So we're going to turn around and we're going to hop into a lunge position. We're going to go right leg forward to begin with. So left side, we're just going to do some lunge, rock and roll. So I'm going to shift forward, feel hip open, chest stays nice and up, and just come back. So it's going to be 5 of these per side, getting paused for a few seconds in the bottom. Just a little bit of a warm up here before we get into the more intense stuff. Number 4. Number 5, and as you go down, just let that knee drop out to the side slightly. Feel this back hip just push through and forward. And come back. You can swap sides. So left leg forward, right knee back. Again, slow down, let the knee drop out. Push the hip forward. 5 of these. Keep the chest nice and upright. Remember, this is just a warm up. So work to increase the intensity of the stretch over those 5 reps. Last rep here. Beautiful. Right, so we're going to start with an active position. We're going to do a long lunge. We can actually move this bench out of the way. We're going to need that in a little bit. So we're going to do left leg back, and again, chest nice and up. I'm going to try and straighten my leg, and the main focus here is that this leg should be straight. So I'm going to use the quad, and then from here, keeping the chest up, I'm just going to let that foot slide back. I'm going to hold this position actively. So I'm trying to keep my hips nice and low, feeling the stretch over the hip flexor, using the quad to extend the leg, using the glute to extend the hip. I'm just going to hold this position. If you struggle to balance, grab yourself a support, but don't lean on it too much. We want to try and be just using that for our balance and think about going deeper into this stretch position. With all that waffling, we've only got about 10 seconds left. 30 to 45 second hold here. Chest nice and up. Use that quad, extend the leg. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. We're going to swap sides. We're going to take about 10 seconds, 15 seconds between sides, because obviously we're still using both legs here, so we don't want to compromise our performance in the next side based on the fatigue from the first. So again, long lunge, start moderate, sat that hip position, lock that leg, straighten the leg, hips nice and low, and then let the foot slide over that 30 to 45 seconds. You can hold it longer than me if you want to. Definitely try to hold it as long as I am though, because I'm going just for the minimum amount here. Remember that support if you need it. Main focus is the stretch, so keep pushing, lifting that knee up, using the quad to extend, using the glute on the back leg, and keep breathing. Another 10 seconds here. Just feel a nice stretch in the hip flexor. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Right, for our rest period, we're going to do, again, an active rest period, a little bit of a stretch. So I'm going to use this bench that I've got here. I'm going to bent knee, hip flexor stretch. So I'm just going to place the foot supported. I'm going to start, first of all, nice and high. So we're going to use our first rest period. We're just going to focus on the quad. We'll focus on the next bit later on. So I'm going to try and get my glute as close as I can to my heel. Feel the stretch over the quad. I'm just going to spend 45 seconds here, 45 seconds on the other side, and then we'll hop back into round number 2 of hip flexors. Should be a relaxed stretch as well, like you shouldn't be squirming about, shouldn't be too intense. This is going to help, this is going to support the main set that we're doing. Another 5 seconds here. We can come up, we can swap sides, place that knee down, and lean back into it, try to get that glute towards the heel, but make sure you're extending the hips so you still feel a stretch over the hip flexor. So just keep breathing. Again, remember, this is a rest period. Another 10 seconds. And if you couldn't tell by the video, I am sweating. There's no air conditioning in here, and it is hot. Definitely helps for the sliding of the long lunge though. A little bit more movement. Right. That is our rest period. We're going to go back in. Second round now. So long lunge. We're going to do left leg back, right leg forward. That's what we started with. Same thing again. I want you to try and maybe note where your foot was on the last round. See if we can beat it. So again, lift up. Use the quad. Straighten that back leg. Chest up. And let it slide out. 30, 45 seconds. So keep holding. Make sure you're focused on engaging the quad of that back leg. Don't let the knee sink down. Nice and active. Another 10 seconds. See if you can beat what you did last time. 2, 1. That's it, come back. We're going to swap sides. We're going to take 15 seconds or so between. Again, you're nice and long with that stance. As long as it feels comfortable. Okay, another 5 seconds. Get ready. So lift, use that quad, straighten that rear leg. Chest up, lock it all in, and then let that foot slide. Feel that stretch over the hip flexor. Keep lifting. Keep going. Just another 10 seconds. It's burning, it's good. It's an active position, strengthening as well as stretching. 3, 2, 1. Whew. Beautiful. I'm going to come back onto this bench, and this time we're just going to go a little bit deeper. So same position, lock that knee in, right leg forward, and we're just going to shift down, support ourselves with a hand on the thigh. We're just going to let this hip sink down into the position. Keep the chest nice and up. Again, if you need a support, grab a support. You'll stay here for 30 seconds. Good effort so far. It's not an easy routine. You know, flexibility training shouldn't necessarily be easy. There's different approaches. We're doing static, passive stuff. It's going to be a bit more chilled. It's going to be a bit more relaxed. If you're going to do more loaded stuff, which contributes and complements it nicely, it's going to be harder. Right, swap side. Left leg comes forward. Sink down into it. Use that support if you need to. Just feel the stretch over the hip flexor. This is, consider it like strength training. Strength training, flexibility training, much the same thing, as long as the intention's there. Remember to keep breathing. Sitting in this position. Chest nice and upright. Another 5 seconds. Beautiful. Right, we're going to move on to the final section now, which is hamstrings. Forward fold. We're going to start off just with a little bit of some warm-up. We're going to do some elephant walk. So I want you to start in a bent leg position. So let gravity pull the stomach onto the left thighs. We're going to rotate to the right-hand side and extend the left leg. Hold for a few seconds, rotate back. I'm going to do the alternate. So I'm going to bend the left leg, straighten the right leg as I go to the left. Come back to the center, both are bent. Go to the right, straighten the left. We're going to do 5 per side. That's 3. Straighten the opposite leg. 5. Last one per side. Beautiful. Right, we're going to use now, final pairing, we're going to use that weight still. You're going to want a foam roller or a yoga block. I'm going to perform a crushing pattern in a standing position. So I'm going to try and fold forward and use my hip flexors, use my core to try and crush that object. So I'm going to try and imagine that I'm going to sandwich my legs and stomach together. Just like the overhead lifts, I'm going to try and do it for 10 seconds. So in this position, I'm going to try and pull myself in. I'm actively trying to close this position. Support yourself if you need to, fingertips, and then tense the quads, and then try to crush that object between your thighs, between your stomach and your thighs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can relax. You can shake off a bit. Just like the first drill, we're going to do 3 of those. So, 1, make sure you've got a big enough object that you can get a good contraction. We don't want to be right at the end of our range of motion. And then as you get a little bit more range, we can move that object further down the thigh, and that's going to allow us to get a bit deeper. So 2 more. Try to crush that object. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just chill out. Try to stay in the rough position if you can do. It does help. Shake it off a little bit. I'm going to do that one last one. So put the object back and try and crush it as hard as we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, shake it off. And next we're going to combine this with some Jefferson curls. Some of you may have done these before, some of you may have heard of them before. If you haven't, it is a flexed spine lift. So you can start standing, and we don't have to do this with weight initially. Think about curling top of the vertebrae, tucking the head, curling vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down the spine, keeping the legs locked, keeping the chin tucked until we get to the bottom. I'm going to pause for a few seconds. I'm going to reverse that motion. So I'm going to try and peel myself from the hips up. So I'm going to do this with weight. Ideally, we want to do this on an elevated surface, but for filming purposes, I'm just going to do it on the floor. As I get down lower, I'm just going to bicep curl. So I'm going to imagine I'm going to pull myself. As I'm curling myself, I'm going to pull myself deeper. Really 5 reps, nice and simple. Grab your weight, grab your load. And we're going to curl down. Nice, slow and controlled. Vertebrae by vertebrae, keep the legs locked. As you get to that bottom, so you can curl yourself in. We're going to pause in this bottom position for a few seconds. I'm going to reverse that motion. 5 in total. Keep the legs locked. Curl them all the way down. Use that engagement in the bottom. Curl back from the hips. 3 more. Keep the chin tucked all the way down. Reach into that bottom position. Keep the legs locked. Number 4, curl yourself down. And last one, hold that bottom position for 10 seconds. Go all the way down, keep reaching, keep curling. 2, 4, 5, keep reaching down in this bottom position. 6, 8, 9, 10, curl yourself back up. Beautiful. Now, we've done quite a lot of forward flexing, so we're just going to come into a kneeling position. Just going to lean on back, use the hands to support you, and just sort of wiggle about, kind of breathe in this position. So I'm using the shoulders actively to lift myself up. I'm just allowing the opposite motion to happen. We're going to rest for 60 seconds, and we'll repeat both of those, and then we're done. That is the routine sorted. And before we get there, after you have finished, maybe have a go with some of your, maybe attempt a front split, just do a squat, move around, see how it feels, see how your shoulder flexibility feels, and let me know how you got on. Let me know if there was an improvement, let me know if you felt good, let me know if it was hard, and there'll be more of these to come, so make sure you're subscribed. Right, last round, we're going to do the crushes, Jefferson curls. It's going to be a good time. Up we get. Grab that object, place it between your stomach and your thighs, support yourself, and then we're going to try and crush it. Use the quads, use the abdominals, crush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's relax a little bit. 2 more. Go down a little bit lower on the thighs if you can do with this object. Right, crush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stay in the position if you can do. Do one more. Get ready to crush. Further down those legs if you can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, again, that should be hard, maximum effort. Let's grab the weight. I'm going to do another episode of Jefferson curls. So, stand nice and tall. Start the curl from the top. Tuck the chin, in the curl down the spine. Let the weight pull you, but keep those hips locked, knees locked, and let them rotate as you get down into that bottom position. A few seconds here. And reverse it. Hips up. Reach into that bottom position. Beautiful. Third one. Keep that chin tucked all the way down. Two more. And this last one, I want you to pause for 10 seconds in that bottom position. Reaching all the way down. Reach those elbows down. Use the quads, use the hip flexors, pull yourself deeper. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. You can put that away. And we can come back. We're going to go into just an upward dog position. Just the opposite. Just breathe, shift about. Just push back now into a child's pose. Shift about it as well. And that is basically the routine. You can cool down however you like, and you can also test and see, how's your flexibility doing? Test your forward fold. Test your front split. Are they feeling? Are they feeling good? Are they feeling flat? Hopefully, they're feeling better than they did beforehand. As always, if you enjoyed this one, please hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. It really does help. And if you enjoy this video, you want to find more of them, you want to see more of them, subscribe. Again, join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe. Other than that, have a strong one.